Hi folks, we're going to take a look at a couple of more examples of factoring trinomials where the coefficient of x squared is not equal to 1. So let's start with example 1 here, and we'll try to factor 3x squared plus 5x plus 2. Okay, so remember that we want to write this as the product of two binomials, hopefully, if it does indeed factor. And let's keep in mind that the two first terms are going to have to multiply to 3x squared. Now this works out nicely because 3 is a prime number. So the only way in which this could work is if we had 3x and x. And that's what I always put on my left-hand column when I'm trying to determine all my coefficients. So here I'll put 3x and x. And I need my last terms to multiply to 2. And again, here, 2 is a prime number, so the only possible way this can happen is if we've got a 2 and a 1. Now, the way in which we get the 5x, the middle term, remember, is always by adding our outside product with our inside product. So this is what we now have to figure out, where all these numbers need to be placed. So the way in which we can create our outside and inside products is by testing the two possible sets of multiplication. So one way is to multiply across, and let's see what happens here. We've got 3x times 2, so that's 6x. X times 1, that's x. So with 6x and x, can we possibly get to 5x? Now that sounds promising, but we realize that everything here is positive. So with x and 6x, there's no way they would add up to 5x. So that's not going to work. The other possibility is to multiply diagonally. Let's check that one out. So if I do 3x times 1, 3x, 2 times x, 2x, 3x and 2x, add up to 5x. So let's keep in mind that it's these terms here in my chart that are going to end up in my brackets. So as we said, we need 3x and x here, so let's put those in. Okay, and we need 2 and 1 in the last positions. We just have to figure out in what order. Well, that's where the multiplication you performed is going to come in handy. So here we saw we had to multiply the 3x by 1, meaning that's our outside product. So the 1 has to go here. And we had to multiply x by 2. That becomes our inside product. So there's 2. And since we're adding everything together, we're going to have an addition here, an addition here. Let's do a quick check. 3x squared. 3x plus 2x is 5x, and 2 times 1 is 2. Okay? Let's now take a look at an example where the coefficients aren't necessarily prime. So I'm going to take a look at 8x squared minus 13x minus 6. Okay, so again, let's set up our two binomials. So we need the first to multiply to 8x squared. So we've got two possibilities, either 2 and 4 or 1 and 8. So let's try 2 and 4. So 2x and 4x. Okay, and here, the 6 can either be 2 and 3 or 1 and 6. So let's try 2 and 3. So notice here, I'm going faster. I'm going to test out my first set of multiplications, 4x and 12x. No way that's going to get to 13. Let's try diagonally. 6x, 8x. Again, no way to get to 13. So this combination won't work. So let's try another combination here. Instead of 2 and 4, let's try 8x and 1x. Okay, and I'll keep the 2 and 3. See where that takes me. So here, let's try across. We have 16 and 3. That is promising, because that could bring us to 13. So we'll put 8x here, x there. Now, since this is negative 6, one of these two is going to have to be negative. Okay, so let's go back to our multiplication. The 8x had to be multiplied by 2, so that will become our outside multiplication. And the x had to be multiplied by 3. That'll be our inside multiplication. We need these to add up to negative 13, so the 16 will be negative, and the 3x will be positive. And there's our factorization. Let's check again just to make sure. 8x times x, 8x squared, negative 16x plus 3x, negative 13x, and then 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Okay, so again, what I want you to do is I want you to slowly start trying to do these as quickly as possible. The other thing I want you to do is when you have scenarios where the two numbers are prime, you might even start to try to figure out the positions without having to draw your chart. When you've got numbers here that are not primes, you probably should draw out the chart every time. Okay, so remember folks, it's practice, practice, practice in order to get better at these so you eventually become a pro.